Have you ever thought for any reason, I don't need a budget? Then let me guess. Payday rolls around and you're living like a king.
I am King Ezekiel.
Steak dinners, new gadgets, drinks with friends. Life is good. But somehow, 2 weeks later, you're rationing gas and you're debating whether instant ramen counts as a balanced diet. Now, maybe this isn't you exactly, but it may not be too far off. This is what paycheck-to-paycheck living looks like. Brought to you by the phrase, I don't need a budget. Living on hope and a prayer. But here's the thing, this mindset is exactly why so many people stay broke. Hope is not a financial plan, but a budget can help you build one. Today we're breaking down the most common excuses people give for avoiding budgets, why those excuses keep you financially stuck, and how you can escape the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle once and for all. Alright, let's talk about the go-to excuses people use to avoid budgeting. If you've ever said one of these, don't worry, you're in good company. Just maybe not good financial company. I make enough money, I don't need the budget. Fun fact, making a lot of money does not mean you keep a lot of money. High earners still go broke all the time because lifestyle inflation and a deserve mentality are sneaky little monsters. Doctors, lawyers, and tech workers can make 6 figures a year and still be drowning in debt. Because without a budget, your money finds ways out of your wallet without any willpower. A budget isn't about restricting you, it's about making sure your money actually stays in your hands instead of mysteriously evaporating every month. Budgets are too restrictive. Contrary to popular belief, budgeting isn't about turning your life into a never-ending episode of Survivor. You don't have to eat plain rice and never have fun again. A budget is just a plan for your money. Want to keep your daily latte in your life? That's fine, just budget for it. The goal is to control your money rather than watch it slip through the cracks. I can just track my spending in my head. Or, I don't have time to budget. Spoiler alert, your brain is not an Excel spreadsheet. Keeping track of every expense mentally is like trying to remember what you ate for lunch 3 weeks ago. You think you know, but you probably don't. Unless you're Rain Man.
There's a Rain Man?
Budgeting doesn't have to be complicated. Many automated budgeting apps exist for a reason and cost minimum time to run. But if you don't track your money somewhere, you will be surprised at how fast it vanishes. I don't make enough to budget. So let me get this straight. Because you don't have much money, you're choosing not to manage it at all? If your money is that tight, then budgeting isn't just helpful, it's essential. A budget helps you stretch every dollar, prioritize needs over wants, and avoid financial emergencies. Again, budgeting's not about restricting you, it's about making sure you're covered before you run out of cash. My expenses or income change too much for a budget to work. Once again, the budget will help you track your changing income or expenses. After a little bit of time budgeting, you'll see trends that help you plan each and every month. Surprise expenses are annoying, but they're not exactly unexpected. Car repairs, medical bills, holiday shopping, these things will happen, and that's why we budget for emergency funds, sinking funds, and variable expenses. A flexible budget lets you adjust when things change, and trust me, things always change. Well, I tried budgeting before and it didn't work. The biggest question you have to ask yourself is, why didn't the budget work? For many people, an unrealistic budget was set, or they didn't have the discipline to stick with it. Please don't be discouraged if the budget doesn't click right away. It can actually take a few months to get a budget to make sense. Myself as an example, I was a knucklehead, and it took me 4 months of overspending before I set my budget up properly. So now that we've gone over some of the biggest excuses for not budgeting, let's talk about why avoiding it keeps you financially stuck, and more importantly, how to break free. Alright, so we've gone over the most common excuses people use to avoid budgeting. Now, let's talk about why these excuses are keeping you financially stuck. Because if you're not in control of your money is in control of you. Living paycheck to paycheck. One of the biggest reasons people stay broke is living paycheck to paycheck. Without a budget, it's way too easy to spend freely at the beginning of the month, only to panic at the end of the month. You're constantly one unexpected expense away from financial disaster. A budget makes sure you cover your essentials first, so you're not stuck using credit cards or other debt to cover your primary expenses. Overspending without realizing it. You know what's sneaky? Tiny daily expenses. One coffee here, an impulse Amazon purchase there. Doesn't seem like much, but it adds up faster than you think. Without a budget, you don't actually see where your money is going. You just wonder why you're broke. No emergency fund means every surprise is a crisis. Without a budget, it's easy to tell yourself, I'll save later, until later turns into never. And you're one emergency away from high-interest credit card debt. A budget makes sure you're setting aside money for the unexpected. Because let's be honest, unexpected expenses aren't really that unexpected. Eventually, everything breaks. Debt becomes a way of life. If you don't have a plan for your money, debt becomes your default solution. Need groceries? Swipe. Car broke down? Swipe. Want to go on a vacation? Swipe. Next thing you know, you're paying more in interest than you ever paid for the things or the trips. A budget can help you get out of debt instead of staying stuck in the cycle forever. See the pattern? Avoiding a budget doesn't just keep you from getting ahead, it actively keeps you stuck. But here's the good news. Breaking free isn't as hard as you think. Let's talk about how to start budgeting in a way that actually works for you. Pick a budgeting method that matches your brain. If you think budgeting means building a complicated Excel spreadsheet, good news, it doesn't have to. The best budget is the one you'll actually stick to. So pick a system that works for your brain. Some budgeting methods to consider are zero-based budgeting, 50-30-20 budgeting, or some other ratios, and the cash envelope system. In a future video, I'll go over more budgeting options with more detail. No one-size-fits-all nonsense here, just pick the system that makes the most sense for you. Track spending first, then set limits. If you don't know where your money is going, how can you control it? Before setting up a budget, spend 1 month just tracking your spending. No judgment, just data collection. Once you see where your money actually goes, you can set realistic limits instead of making up random numbers that don't fit your lifestyle. Use an automated budgeting app. If tracking your spending sounds like a chore, let technology do it for you. Apps like YNAB, You Need a Budget, or Rocket Money, or Dave Ramsey's Every Dollar can automatically categorize your spending, alert you when you're overspending, and even help you set savings goals. The less effort required, the more likely you'll actually stick to it. A budgeting app can make sure you're staying on track without needing to check your bank account every 5 minutes. Pay yourself first. Here's a tip: treat saving like a bill. Before you spend a dime on anything else, pay yourself first, whether it's savings, investing, or debt payoff. If you wait until the end of the month to save whatever's left, there won't be anything left. Make room for fun. A budget that doesn't include fun is a budget you'll quit faster than a New Year's resolution. Give yourself a category for guilt-free spending, because the goal isn't to suffer, it's to be intentional. The trick is to plan for fun without wrecking your financial goals. Automate everything. The less effort required, the better. Set up automatic transfers for your bills, savings, and debt payments. That way your money does what it's supposed to before you have a chance to spend it. Let's wrap this up with one final thought. Budgeting is the path to financial freedom. At the end of the day, budgeting isn't about punishment, and it's definitely not about depriving yourself. It's about control. Control over your money, control over your future, and most importantly, control over your options in life. A budget isn't a financial prison, it's a blueprint for the life you actually want. Because when you tell your money where to go, you stop wondering where it went. As I said before, budgets are not one size fits all. What works for me or for somebody else might not work for you. And that's one reason why my channel is called Finances Engineered. Personal finance isn't one rigid system. It's something that should be designed and tailored for your unique life, goals, and habits. So here's your challenge. If you've been avoiding budgeting, just start tracking your spending today. No pressure, no fancy spreadsheets. Just see where your money is going. You might be surprised. And if you want more personal finance strategies that actually work, hit the subscribe button and stick around. Because financial freedom doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you start engineering your finances to work for you.